Welcome to the Paradigm Shift episode 108. We're on the move right now. We're heading to a speaking engagement in Stamford, Connecticut. I couldn't be more excited. Saturday, baby. We got a very special guest on today I'm really excited about. But first, we're bringing on my iconic co-pilot, Big Bad Dave, who I couldn't be more excited to see right now. He's definitely going to be looking super fly and handsome. Big Dave, where are you, pal? And everybody in the chat, also drop some questions in there. We're bringing on Dr. Vuu in less than five. How you doing, Uncle Dave?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Doing great. Why are you smiling like a giddy goose?
I got a big weekend ahead of me, so super excited.
Mobile seagull.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. The transitory seagull, the eagle flying to his marathons.
Where are you right now? Are you in the bathroom?
No. I'm in my wife's office because everyone's sleeping here.
Understood. I appreciate you being flexible like a yoga instructor. It's 6 a.m. by you?
It's getting late, man. I got this. I got the CMO MasterCard at 6:30. I got the Mike Tannenbaum show at 7 a.m. I got coaching calls, and then we're going to the Padre game, going to dinner, going to see my aunt, my mom. It's going to be a good day.
You're a jug. You excited for Dr. Vuu?
Dr. Who?
Yeah. We're gonna bring him on in about 3 minutes, but we always like to get started with some questions for you. Checking out your content this week, you saw one that really hit home for me, and it's something that I had to learn and grow with, and that was that you'll never really outgrow your inner circle. And for people out there that are listening today that really want to expand and spread their wings, maybe it's time to do an audit with their inner circle. Is that right?
Yeah, what I also find about the inner circle is that, as we look at our frequency being our neighborhood, the awareness that we have, a lot of times the inner circle starts feeling uncomfortable. And we see this a lot when kids come home from college. They've spent so many years, a lot of them, with the exact same people, the exact same inner circle. And then it's their first experience of not feeling comfortable with people that they normally are very comfortable with. And what happens is a lot of times the people that we have outgrown or frequency-wise we're not resonating with anymore, they're the ones who go to blame, shame, justification. They project their insecurity about that separation, and it ends up causing a duplicative negative energetically. And so I think more than just being held back or limited by the inner circle, it also has an extra interference from the people who feel uncomfortable around you. And I see that in business, I see that with school, I see that in life, with family, that a lot of times this idea of growth and uncomfortability really can create, more interference that doesn't allow you to be in the flow, but creates the flu.
Is this something that you had to personally learn by paying some dummy taxes?
Oh, of course, just from going to high school to college to law school to business, then within the context of business, when I was doing extremely well, people would tell me, I said, hey, how come you don't invite me over to your house? And they'd say, well, I don't feel comfortable, now that you're so big time. I was like, dude, I grew up in a windowsill, 6 kids in a 2-bedroom apartment. Why would I, feel uncomfortable coming to your house just because financial successes have afforded me different conveniences than I had before? And all these different things I've learned, and I've lost friends, and I've, got angry myself, and I've, projected my own insecurities, all types of things. But now that I have clear practices about my growth acceleration, about fear itself, there's so much less interference. And, I really have relegated caring about what people think, but it's none of my business what they think. And there's a difference between caring about what you think and then distinguishing none of your business of what people think. You can care about someone who thinks something, but it's none of your business what they think. And I think, I'm dealing with how to articulate that a little bit better, but it's when people have judgments, conditions, projections, it's like, hey, I care about what you're thinking. I appreciate what you're thinking, but it's none of my business what you're thinking, right? There's no judgment or condition to it.
Yeah, especially when you're a public figure, so to speak, or you're well known, or you have a big audience and community. That's something that you really must master, because you can never be the GOAT or the best that you could be if you're triggered by what everybody thinks, right?
I'll tell you what Gary told me, years ago when my brand was at the level of your brand, and I started to realize two things. I'm like, Gary, how do you handle all the requests, and how do you handle all the judgment? And he just said, just wait. Where you're at today is going to double faster than it doubled before, and where you're going to be is going to double faster than you've done before. So there's going to be twice as many people wanting things from you in a short amount of time, and there's going to be twice as many people attacking you in a short amount of time. So get prepared and care about what people think, but it's none of your business what they think.
You're such a stud. We're going to bring on Dr. V. But first, I know it's early out there.
Man, is that what kind of car?
Huh?
What kind of car is that?
It's a Maybach.
It's a Maybach?
Is it really though? Alessia, what kind of car are you driving? Dave wants to know. Mazda. It's a Mazda, Dave.
It's a Maybach Mazda. I like it. It's awesome. Now I understand why people think I'm driving, because on the screen it gets reversed. It looks like you're on the driver's side, and now I understand. This is the first time someone else has gone mobile on me. I like it.
That wouldn't be a good principle to practice.
No, but I've had people do it. But anyway, I'm glad you're in the passenger seat with it. Is Alexia a good driver?
Alexia, you're a good driver. She has a little bit of road rage sometimes, that immigrant mentality.
Yeah, that's Julie. So the only time that I'm tested in my relationship after 25 years of marriage is whether I'm driving or Julie's driving. There's bound to be some sort of friction or irritation. So just I get it.
Oh man, I love you. We're gonna bring on Dr. V, but first, how many pretty peanut butter and jelly sandwiches did you consume, or do you plan to consume today?
Well, I've had 2 this morning already, but I plan to consume 10. So wow. I'm going to be like Muhammad Ali. I'm going to be so pretty, people can't stand it.
That's it. Love it. Speaking of pretty, wait to see this cat.
Oh, he's so pretty. I love him.
Dr.
Pretty boy Floyd.
Hey! You know what? I know I belong in your inner circle because my lady, we're talking about road rage, we're talking about kitchen rage, we're talking about the mall rage.
This is awesome.
Kitchen rage. I love it.
Yeah. Dr. V, welcome to the Paradigm Shift. Thank you for being flexible with the earlier time. We've connected several times before. I know you're so close with Dave. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, well, it's a pleasure to be here. When you guys talked about the inner circle and the vibration of the inner circle, it truly resonated with me, because you're going to be around people. It's the energetic. Energy diffuses. And so when you're around somebody and absorb people's energy, that you're no longer in their frequency, it's going to go into your body. And what I talk about really is how we actually start to control the energetics of who we are, because that energy not only speaks to every single cell in our body, that gives it instructions on how to behave. So if we want optimal health, longevity, peak performance, we got to control that energy. And certainly once we start to outgrow the people that are no longer in our energetic, we have to remove ourselves from that space. But like you also said, Craig, one of the things I love in terms of what you said is once you get to the level of badassery, as you move up your vibration, other people's shit no longer gets to you. And when you can control your energetic so much so that you are in this positive state, that no matter, even if you are with a bunch of people around you that is a lower energetic, you start to pull them up as well. So that's a beautiful part about transformation.
Did you say level of badassery? That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it is. And you know what's the word?
That's a medical term, badassery.
You're going to thrive state 3, badassery. But more importantly, we can't give through less. And I want people to let that sit with you. that we can't give through less. And so, Craig knows my logo of, reaching up as well as having a hand out below me in an energetic sense as well. But we can't help these others with the hand down unless we have the hand up, because we are continually in a process of having our own inner circle, reaching out to higher vibration or frequency, because we can't give from less. And I think it's a real difficult distinguishment for people to make vibrationally or frequency wise, that, okay, so I have my inner circle of these people, the 5 aggregate energy, collective consciousness, but I'm continually reaching up for more as I go to college, law school, business school, entrepreneurship, whatever it may be, personal development, all types of masterminds. And yet I have to maintain this idea, because we can't give from less. And so I see people a lot of times in a comfort zone, and they stick to that comfort zone, and they don't invest in themselves to elevate themselves, because it's a lot more difficult to reach up and to reach down than to stay in the same place. And I see a lot of people limiting their own self-imagery and limiting their own group self-imagery, because, like you said, Dr. Vuu, it's, if you can't give from less, if you're reaching for more, you can bring your group with you. It doesn't mean they all have to separate from you.
So good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. One of the things that you mentioned, Dave, that I would love to hit on is that notion of giving and what it actually does to our body and energetically. Why we say when we have purpose, we activate the biology, the genes of longevity and performance. And it's this: when you are giving, when you're in that place of serving, you are actually giving every single cell in your body a message. What's it saying? You're telling your body, I am safe, and I have enough, and I am loved. And what happens in that state is you turn off the fight or flight in you. Because if you're constantly striving and just doing your thing, your mind is thinking, oh my God, I got to make that money. I got to make that paycheck. How am I going to support my family? X, Y, Z. When you're up here, you're telling your body you are in danger. That it could be somebody running away, or it could be not being able to make payroll. Whatever that is, you're behind you. And that actually activates the biology of stress, which increases inflammation and lowers your immune system. However, no matter what financial situation you're in, no matter what the circumstances are, if you start to serve, you're giving your body an energetic. You are saying to your body, I am safe, I am loved. And all of a sudden, the physiology starts to change. All of a sudden, the default mode network quiets down, and you could tap into creativity, innovation. And you also activate the biology, again, peak performance and longevity.
Get doctor on the doctor. Craig, you got to hear this. So I have a doggy biscuit analogy that I use, and I believe in a bigger source than me that loves me more than my mom. When we give, source or God or Jesus, Muhammad, whatever you believe in, gives you a doggy biscuit, the dose of dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. But the people who receive also get the doggy biscuit, and anybody witnessing it, which makes it the most viral of all non-diseases. The most viral of the flow is giving is a doggy biscuit, receiving gets a doggy biscuit, and witnessing giving and receiving gets a doggy biscuit. Go ahead, Craig. Sorry for interrupting you.
No, so this is awesome. This is so good, and it kind of correlates into a question that I was really excited to ask you, Dr. Vuu, because I was checking out your content and I watched a video that really moved me, and I think it's a really beautiful concept that Dave will like too. And you talk about being the lighthouse, and I'd love for you to tell us what you mean by that.
Oh yeah, well, being the lighthouse. Being the lighthouse, a lighthouse just sits in the ocean. But what could happen in that ocean? You could have very calm and still waters. The lighthouse is just there. But very oftentimes the lighthouse is out there because you get storms that come in that take out the visibility of anything. You got waves crashing in the ocean. But here's the thing. When you are the lighthouse, you remain stagnant in there. You could handle the waves, you could handle the storms, and you are that light. And as long as you could stay grounded there, you are that life and safe harbor for people to see, like that is the direction I'm going. So whether in business, whether in your families, the people that you're serving, we know that circumstances are going to be the ocean that crashes. We're going to be storms that coming. But if you are able to stay grounded in your vibration, in your message, in the values that you want to uphold, people will see that. And whatever they might be going through, as long as you are that lighthouse, they would know they are safe with you.
That's beautiful. Dave, you look like you're about to cry.
I love Dr. Vuu, and for someone that I work closely with, the world needs more of him. And I was thinking, in your book, Thrive State, which is behind you, and you have the first and second edition. What is the differentiator in the second edition that inspired you? A lot of people would have just written a second book instead of a second edition. Brand in the idea of thriving, energy, creating more energy, which is my definition of thriving. What's the differentiator from the first edition to the second?
Oh, really great question. So the first edition is really about the pillars in life. There's 7 pillars in life that truly control the vibration that you give to every single cell in your body. That's sleep, nutrition, movement, emotional mastery, your mindset, relationships, and that sense of purpose. And if you actually, really control each one of those things, you create this vibration in your body that you give to your cells. And if you can control that energetic, you can give yourself optimal health, longevity, and peak performance. And on the opposite end, there is inflammation, decreased immunity, and chronic disease. So I lay out that blueprint and framework. Why did I release that second edition? Well, I released the first edition right at the start of the pandemic. And I've released the second edition because I noticed a few things. Number one, I noticed that my clients, my family, the people that were in Thrive State, they might have gotten the virus, but they only got mild symptoms or no symptoms at all. But I'm also at the hospital. I was looking at people who were not in Thrive State, that did not embody the characteristics of those 7 things, and they ended up in the ICU. I see patients pass away from COVID, people getting long haul COVID. And so that's what I wanted people to know is if you stay in Thrive State, you become resilient to whatever the circumstances, virus, something knocking in your business, other stresses, you're able to be resilient. And I wanted to let people know just how important that energetic was. But number 2, I also share this, that we as human beings actually have receptors. Like if I were to eat like a really nice juicy steak right now, both you and Craig will have their mouths start watering. You don't actually have to be eating the steak, right? We have motor neurons and we have other receptors in our body that feels the energetic. So how do we start to transform our teams, our families, and our organizations? Well, one, if we can embody this vibration within ourselves, that vibration is not only heard to every single cell in our body, but other people start to feel it as well. And they're going to be, oh, wow, how are they able to be calm? How are they able to be this lighthouse in the storm? And we start to shift there. And the very last thing is, in biology now, we truly understand what stops people from creating lasting change. And we start to know that there's a part of our body called the default mode network, which is this primitive programming that we have growing up. We pick up programming from our parents, from media, from society. We also feel and remember these things that hurt us as a kid. So the things that made us feel unloved, abandoned while we're younger, we put on these shield of armor and programs under us. And later on as adults, when we try to act on something or when we decide we want something better for our life and something comes up that wants to stop us, these old programs, they want to stop us and sabotage us. We might not act on them because truly our life, our success, our health truly comes down to the choices that we make, our subsequent actions. So how do we make better choices? We have to be able to recognize some of that old programming first. And when we are aware of them, we could start to make new choices. And guess what? The new choices are going to feel hard. They're going to feel like something's coming out against us because we have to work against old habits. I shine a light on that part of our biology so that when people could start to understand that, they could start to make changes. They're going to start to know what change feels like and make better changes and better changes
This
so they
is
can
awesome.
change
You're
their
such a stud.
vibration.
And Doc, just to be clear, you're so passionate about all this because you have contrast, right? Because you used to be in a much different place, physically, emotionally, and then you kind of put together the Thrive state. Is that right?
Absolutely. I was a medical doctor, and my old programming always told me I was not enough, that I needed something outside of myself to feel good about myself. I needed the accolades, the MD, the white coat, so interact with me through this thing. But it was because inside I didn't feel enough. I didn't feel worthy. And so when I amplified my finances at that time, I was also amplifying my insecurities and my not enoughness. And that's why 7 years ago, I was overweight, diabetic, had high blood pressure, I was on prescription medications. Me, an MD that had trained at the National Institutes of Health, the Howard Hughes Medical Institute, assistant clinical professor at UCLA, did not have the tools to really be well. And so that's why I broke off and studied the world's longest lived populations where people were the most productive in their lives. And I started a healing journey. And yes, I understood nutrition and epigenetics, and it all comes down to this. It all comes down to remembering who we are, remembering that we are already the vibration of love, and that it's the old programming that surrounds that keeps us from that love vibration. So all this work is just coming back to who we are, and when we're that, my friends, we activate so much magic in our lives. We attract people like this inner circle here, and we're also then gifted with optimal health, longevity, and peak
Dave, you want
performance.
to land the plane?
Yeah, of course. So, it's so interesting because we've talked so much about the energetic inheritance in that thriving state. But what makes it so fascinating with Dr. Vuu is that he's been able to reconcile it with the genetic inheritance as well. He had mentioned real subtly the epigenetic layer that we have in the communication between the energetic and the genetic. It's obvious that the genetic will determine as well our longevity and the reinforcement supplemental synergistic energy that we can infuse and interpret and reconcile with the genetics that we have, and being able to break not only a chain of energetics in our lives, but break a chain of genetics that can create not only longevity for self, and all three of us being a testament to the reformation from our varying backgrounds that were very interfered with, to breaking the chain for our children and our legacy as well, which is critical. I was hoping you could land the plane by talking about the reconciliation of the genetic with the Thrive state of the energetic.
Yes, absolutely. Well, people sometimes think that the genes define who they are. That mom had diabetes, dad had hypertension and died from a heart attack. That's what I eventually going to have. And that's absolutely not true. That's only true if you inherit how they think, feel, and act. Those things, how you think, feel, act, and that sense of purpose creates that energetic of who you are. And what we know is this, that energy that we create actually speaks to your DNA in a moment-to-moment basis, and it gives instructions to that DNA. So everything comes down to our energetic, and how do we create that energy? By the moment-to-moment choices that we make every single day to our being. And when we could start to make those changes over time, we start to shift basically this environment of our DNA. And we could start to rewrite the things that have been passed down to us to create a new future, not only for us, but for the people around us.
Yeah.
He's amazing, incredible, Dr. Vuu. What do you say, Craigie Poo?
I love what you did there, Dave, how you teed him up to land the plane. That was awesome. This is so valuable. I'm so glad. Perfect guest at the perfect time. Dr. Vuu, is your second book available right now?
The second book is available. It was already a #1 bestseller on Amazon. The Audible edition was just
Is it your
released
voice?
yesterday,
Your
so
voice?
please enjoy it.
Oh, yeah.
It is my
Yeah,
boy.
it's nap
That's right.
time. That soothing Nance-like description of the thriving state is like a meditative book, just a meal for everyone at the beginning, middle, or end of the day. I love you, Dr. Vuu. I love you, Craigie Poo. And good luck. Where are you off to today, Craig, in the mobile, the Maybach?
I'm going. I'm on my way to a speaking engagement for the first time since college. I'm back in Connecticut, baby.
Very good. Well, you tell Alexis that she's driving Miss Daisy, so be careful.
I will. Love you both. Dr. Bill, congratulations on the book. I can't wait to read the second edition. Oh, the whole audience should grab it immediately. Dave, thank you as always. Make sure you get to 10 pretty peanut butter and jelly sandwiches today. I love you both.
How many episodes are we on? How many episodes?
This was episode 108.
108 is great. Eight's a lucky number in China. All right. Take care. Thank you.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone.
Episode 108 in the books. Grab Dr. Vuu's book. Thank me later. We're off to Connecticut for a speaking engagement. First time being back there since college. Leslie says hello as she drinks her coffee and multitasks. Love you guys so much. We'll put out some content from the speaking engagement today. Shout out to Brandon and Dylan for throwing an awesome event. I know it's going to be epic. And let's have a great weekend, guys. Sharpen the axe, set yourself up. Henny in the house. Hell yeah. I love you all so much that it's weird. The Reinvention Formula, our first book by Wiley, quoted by John Gordon, may or may not be available for pre-order right now. Thank you, Big Dave, as always, for hopping on, being super flexible like a yoga instructor. And Dr. Vuu, you're a stud. And I appreciate you guys. Let's have a great weekend.